Behind closed doors, power rarely announces itself. It moves through favors, silence, and people who know exactly what not to say. The Epstein files are not about money. They are about patterns. Repeated names. Repeated access. Repeated denials. Watch closely, because what emerges is not one criminal story, but a system that allowed the same behavior to survive across decades without consequence. What the Epstein files actually are: this was never just a file release. The Epstein files are not a single report, not a court transcript, and not a neat exposé. They are a fragmented archive of interviews, emails, flight logs, internal FBI memos, intelligence tips, and sealed complaints collected over decades by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and later released under pressure by the U.S. Department of Justice. What makes them explosive is not one document, but repetition. Powerful people appearing across unrelated files, in unrelated contexts, following the same behavioral patterns. At the center is Jeffrey Epstein, long portrayed as a lone predator. The files quietly dismantle that narrative. They show a man operating as a connector, introducing women, arranging travel, facilitating meetings, maintaining leverage through secrecy. The documents do not simply mention crimes. They reveal process. An FBI FD 302 interview describes Ghislaine Maxwell presenting a young woman to a sitting U.S. president during a private Mar-a-Lago tour. The victim states nothing physical occurred. That detail matters. The language used framed availability. This was intent, not coincidence. From there, the pattern widens. Elon Musk and the gap between public denial and private traffic. The Musk material is not explosive because of accusations. It is destabilizing because of contradiction. Emails in the files show Musk initiating contact with Epstein, asking about timing, about visiting the island, referencing what he himself called the wildest party, discussing Caribbean travel logistics involving his then-wife. Epstein responds casually, "There is always space for you." That tone matters. It implies familiarity, not exception. Publicly, Musk would later deny association and dismiss Epstein outright. Privately, the correspondence continues. Scheduling questions, follow-ups, logistics. Then comes the moment that reframes everything. Epstein receives a private tour of SpaceX facilities in 2013. Access to a secure aerospace environment does not happen casually. It requires authorization, coordination, and trust. None of this proves crimes. It destroys a myth. The myth of accidental association. What Epstein offered was not wealth. It was utility. The ability to move between power centers without friction. In elite circles, that service is more valuable than money. And that logic extends far beyond technology. Bill Gates and the currency of discretion. The most dangerous secrets are rarely loud. They travel quietly, disguised as logistics and trusted intermediaries. In the Epstein files, Bill Gates does not appear as a headline-grabbing villain. He appears as something far more unsettling. A figure whose private judgment collided with a public reputation built on virtue. Emails show Epstein positioned not as a social acquaintance, but as a confidential intermediary for sensitive matters. That role is reserved only for someone believed to be discreet, connected, and reliable. Gates had private planes, security teams, and institutional infrastructure. Yet certain matters moved outside formal systems into a gray zone where accountability thins. This is where Epstein's true value emerges. He sold silence, routing, the ability to keep conversations off record. Years later, Melinda Gates would publicly state that Epstein's presence in their lives played a role in the collapse of their marriage. The documents change meaning when viewed through that admission. What looked like networking becomes risk exposure. There are no charges here. No verdicts. Only evidence of confidence. Confidence that the system would absorb the risk. That confidence was shared. Howard Lutnick, Kevin Walsh, and post-conviction access. By the time Howard Lutnick and Kevin Walsh appear in the files, Epstein was already convicted. The moral boundary was visible. And yet, access continued. Calendars. Scheduling notes. Island references. This is where timing becomes the story. Elite networks are sensitive to reputation. When association continues after exposure, it signals calculation. That access still outweighs risk. Epstein's environments were infrastructure. Planes. Islands. Guest lists. Spaces deliberately designed to exist outside public oversight. In those rooms, money mattered less than trajectory. Lutnick represented financial gravity. Walsh represented future institutional power. Their presence shows how Epstein curated not randomness, but alignment. The files do not accuse. They reveal judgment under insulation. And this insulation extended far beyond national borders. International actors and network behavior. One exchange changes the scale of the story. Communications between Epstein and a foreign economic official discuss a woman who had become a problem for powerful men in New York. The language is careful, bureaucratic, but unmistakably coordinated. This is where the files stop being scandal and begin resembling a system. Confidential human source reports reference foreign intelligence interest. These claims are marked unverified, but their inclusion matters. Institutions considered them credible enough to archive. In leverage networks, information does not need to be true. It needs to be believable, private, and costly to clean up. Epstein's power was asymmetry. Knowing who needed silence more than truth. What the Epstein files ultimately reveal: these files are not about proving guilt in court. They are about revealing structure. First, proximity to wrongdoing becomes normalized when shared among insiders. Repeated meetings and statements that nothing happened form a fog that discourages accountability. Second, silence is enforced through mutual exposure. When everyone has something to lose, no one speaks first. Third, institutions fail not through conspiracy alone, but through fragmentation. Inconsistent redactions. Misfiled reports. Tips that stall at ambiguity. This system is not unique. Similar dynamics exist wherever power concentrates without oversight, including elite networks across Asia, Europe, and finance-driven hubs where discretion is valued above transparency. The Epstein files do not expose one man, they expose a method. A structure where access becomes currency, silence becomes protection, and accountability fades through repetition rather than denial. If this analysis changed how you see power behind the headlines, like the video and subscribe to the channel. In Part 2, we examine how these networks survive long after names fade and why exposure rarely means consequences. Thanks for watching.